Hello everybody, welcome to Santi Cooks. Today we are cooking beef stroganoff. Behind the camera, as usual, Jonathan. And today, put this on the heat already, we're going to cook, like I said, beef stroganoff. So come over here, Jonathan. You are going to need, all right, a little bit of cognac or brandy, some good olive oil, some nicely chopped lengthwise onions, a little bit of garlic, some water or stock, beef stock, chicken stock is fine as well. Then you got some sour cream, some butter, Garnier, okay. Then we have here a little bit of chestnut mushrooms and some already cut ribeye steak. I use ribeye steak because I find it that it can take the actual style of cooking that we're going to do, and it won't get too tight, it won't get too tough. And you can cook it a little bit under, so that it won't be like in the olden days when dishes like this were like cooked with very cheap ends of meat, and they were used to be quite tough. Right, so what we put here is a little bit of olive oil in the actual pan, okay, and I'm going to put 1, 2, okay, little knobs of butter. In that knob of butter, okay, I'm going to put about half of these onions, okay, and then we're going to soften them up, okay. Want to soften them up, we want them to sort of like become nice and gentle and soft. I've noticed the other day that I'm actually using quite a lot of onion in a lot of these dishes that I'm making, but really it is such an amazing product to use on so many different dishes. And it's become such a staple of everybody's food, from Oriental food to Asian food to European food and so on. I mean, it is really, really something. So we're going to soften that up nicely. Okay. And next, we got the meat here. What I want to do is I just want to coat it a little bit with some salt. Okay, just coat it a little bit with some salt. Okay. Pepper I will add later. Okay. And now what I want to do is to these onions that are just starting to soften up, I'm going to add the bouquet garnier. The bouquet garnier, it is what it sounds like. It's a bouquet made out of your garden herbs. Put it in there, a couple of bay leaves. Careful, Jonathan, we don't want to burn you. Okay. Oh, and all of a sudden, bang. Can you smell it, Jonathan?
I can smell it.
Yeah, so that flavour from the rosemary and thyme has started to infuse the oil, the butter, and the actual the onions. Nice. Right? What do we think? Okay. Then to that, I want to add the actual onions first. Sorry, I was just thinking there, too long. I'm going to add the mushrooms, okay, no salt. If you add salt to them now, you'll dry them up, and you don't want to do that. Okay, there we go. You can see the onions have changed color, they're beginning to be see-through, but they're still holding that robustness at the moment because of the fact that it's going to be cooked with liquid, with actual stock and sour cream and so on. You want to keep them a little bit sort of stiffer until you add that, otherwise they'll be completely too limp. Right, that needs a little bit more butter, because what we're hoping to do is we're hoping to create a little bit of stock inside there from all that infusion. Okay, so look how beautiful that looks, Jonathan. Lovely colors, and you can see the actual butter melting down nicely, and it's going to create a beautiful stock with those bits of mushroom and onion. Again, don't overcook the mushrooms. If you overcook them at this point, you're going to find that by the time you actually add most of the liquid and then you're actually looking for a little bit of boil, your mushrooms will be basically left to nothing. And that is why I also don't cut them very thinly. I actually just take a mushroom and cut it in half, and that is enough. Because when you eat it, you want it to add to that meatiness, to that bulk of the dish. Come take a little sniff. Jonathan, come and have a little sniff with me. Tell them how it smells.
I can smell the flavors coming together.
You can smell the flavors coming together.
Yes, sir.
There we go. Jonathan was telling me earlier that I think he's going to stop doing everything he does and he's just going to concentrate on a filming company, on a filming sort of a career. Is that right, Jonathan? He says the filming is easier than cooking. What do you think, Jonathan?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
Yes, sir.
Which one do you think is easier, filming or cooking?
Cooking.
Cooking is easier. Should never have said that on camera, never admit it. There we are, look at that colour now. So you can see that the mushrooms are now browning, okay? And this is where you want to start thinking about pulling them out for a little bit, just cool down. And you're going to see why in a minute. Because what I want to do is, I want to take these mushrooms, okay, and onions, and I'm going to take them and I'm going to put them in a separate pan just here, okay? And now, what I want to do is, I want to, look, doesn't that look beautiful? That would actually be amazing as is with a bit of pasta or something along those lines. Right, another knob of butter, Jonathan. Another little bit of oil, okay? And now, what we're going to do is we're going to cook the actual meat. You want that to get to a nice temperature, okay? And you can see underneath here, look, come and have a look at this, Jonathan. See, all of that is flavouring, okay? And all of that is going to now even add more to this. And there's the meat. We're going to brown it off a little bit, okay? We want to brown it off so we get the flavours infused back into that pan. We trap the flavour into the meat, and therefore it should taste better. And what we don't want to do is overcook it at this point. Okay, so we added a little bit of that salt earlier. Okay, now leave it there and don't move it anymore. The reason we added salt earlier is because we wanted to draw a little bit of moisture out, so it doesn't start. It starts sort of like oozing too much moisture into the oil and the butter. We then take a little bit of pepper, and we just pepper it nicely along here. Show them that nice drizzling away, Jonathan. Yes? Do you see all the caramelization happening underneath?
Yes,
all these lovely flavours, okay? And what you want to do is when it does that, is just turn it over nicely so you see that beautiful browning in the meat. That's what we want. That is what we're looking for. Okay? There we are. Isn't that a nice colour, a nice smell?
That's a beautiful colour.
Beautiful colour, right? You could just jump in there, couldn't you? Now, at this point is where I'm going to add a little bit of garlic. Okay? So this is finely chopped garlic. I'm only going to add half of what I had here, so maybe 2 teaspoons or roughly 2 cloves. Okay? Now you're going to get a different kind of smell coming through. Have a little smell of that, Jonathan. Show them close up to that. Wow. Isn't that beautiful? Yes.
It smells amazing.
Amazing, right? Lovely. So now let's have a look. Just turn this one over again. Look at that. Oh, if I could tell you how good this smells. That garlic, the butter, the oil, the good piece of meat is just amazing. Well, one piece of meat, here we are. It's got to be in hell. Okay, so now that we have the beef, I beg your pardon, almost to the cook level, okay, we want to introduce this back in there again. Now we introduce all of that back in there, Okay, then we start mixing it. All right, we mix all this, and you see that stock that we have created in there, okay, with the butter and the oil and all the flavors oozing out from the meat, from the onion, from the mushrooms, from the garlic, from the bouquet garnier, which I'm now going to remove because it's done its job. Okay, also the bay leaves, we're going to remove. We don't want those in there, so that is now done. Okay, that is now done. So we are going to, I'm going to add maybe 1 cup of water. You can use stock. I created my own stock there. I did it to show you that you don't need to buy stock or make stock. And what you want is you want that. See now that, it literally is like stock. When you do that, you want to wait for it to get to heat, okay? So we need to heat it up. And while it's heating up, I am going to take a little bit of parsley and chop it for later. And we just want to roughly chop this away, okay? Because we want to put it on top of the dish, okay? Just to give us, oh, that smells amazing, that parsley, Jonathan. Love the smell of fresh things and fresh herbs and organic stuff, right?
Yes, chef.
Now, over here, Jonathan, it's coming to the boil, and as it's coming to the boil, see the boil there? You take your sour cream and you add all your sour cream onto that, okay? And this, it comes down to how much you want. In here, you have about 150 grams of sour cream, right? What you want to do is you want to mix it nicely, nice and slowly, fold it into that. And you can add more, you can add less, it's entirely up to you, okay, of how creamy you like it. I like it creamy, but I don't want it unnaturally sort of overly thick, because it will get quite thick in here. I've made enough here for about 2 people. Jonathan and I are going to sit down and enjoy this later, aren't we, Jonathan?
Can't wait to taste
yes,
it.
we can't wait.
Yes, chef.
And now, as soon as it starts coming to the boil again, okay, what you want is you want some nice Dijon mustard. Dijon mustard is what they call French mustard, okay, and you want 1.5 teaspoons in there. Now, and then mix it in. Make sure that it's all mixed in there. Very nice. Absolutely lovely. So, what we want now is to taste it for salt. Just a little bit more. Pepper. Over here, Jonathan. Close up for them. A little bit of salt. Okay. And what you want to do now is wait for that little bit of reduction. Okay. And at this point, you take the actual lid, 5 minutes in boil, gives you time to tidy these things up, okay, and remove a little bit, get your plate ready, before you actually plate it up. And once it's over here, Jonathan, let's have a look at the reveal. Once it's like that and you see that it's boiling, it is now reducing nicely. It is basically ready. And what you want to do is, normally, traditionally, a beef stroganoff is served with rice. You can also serve it with pasta, but I've decided that I'm going to serve it with some of my favorite, which is some beautiful roasted potatoes. Okay, and we're going to take some of these potatoes, Jonathan.
Yes, chef.
We're going to put them center of the plate. Right, just like that.
Look at the color of this
Look,
potato.
you like the color? Wonderful. And then we are going to take a nice spoon. We're going to take this ready, finished, cooked beef stroganoff, and we're going to put it on top.
This smells amazing.
We're going to do this. Okay, make sure we wipe the plate. Okay, we're going to take a little bit of the parsley, and voila, we're ready. However, as they say, the proof in the pudding is in the tasting. So let's just take a little bit of this. Enjoy.